Today on Combustion Chamber, we get to go for a ride in Joe Corso's 2013 Ferrari 458 Italia. And there's also a really important story behind this car that we're going to share with you today. But first, as always, let's get after it. Welcome back to Combustion Chamber. We're here in Austin, Texas with this beautiful Ferrari 458 Italia. Like I said in the opening, there's a very personal story behind this car, very personal to me and the ones that I love. A lifelong friend, Abraham Zambrano, was battling cancer, and he was a huge car fanatic. And I know that he would get a kick out of riding in something exclusive like this. So I reached out to Joe, and he was more than happy to help out. So later in this video, we're going to learn more about that story. But first, let's talk to Joe about how he came to own this Ferrari. Well, first, I want to welcome you onto the show today. It's really great to have you again. It's really good to sit down and talk to you again.
It's great to see you again.
Now, can you tell us the story behind this car? Because originally you weren't planning on buying a Ferrari, so can you tell us what led you to buy this particular Ferrari?
Yeah, it's a great story because I can ultimately blame my wife, which is always handy. But Laura and I were on vacation in San Francisco, and Laura loves to go to gift shops. Now, I hate gift shops, but this one that she picked was right next to a marina in Sausalito, and it also had a waiting room in the back. I went in the waiting room, and on the coffee table was a magazine, and on the cover of the magazine was this car. And I thought, that's a beautiful car. So I started reading it. Turned out it was the Ferrari 458 Italia, and I just kept reading it and falling in love with the car, the lines, the underlying technology behind it, and I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I was over by the local dealership one day shortly after we got back, and I said, well, what the heck, let me just go over there. I went there, and they had one in the showroom, and I kept going back, and I kept asking them questions, and I kept thinking about it, and finally, after 5 months, Laura said, what are you waiting for? Get the car. So on March 3rd, 2012, I put down the deposit, and then the rest is history. So I can say, if Laura had not gone into that gift shop, we wouldn't have this car. It's her fault.
It's her fault. There you go. You know, I've photographed a lot of these cars, and I noticed that a lot of drivers don't put that many miles on it. Now, you have driven this pretty extensively. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. When I decided to get the car, I decided I was going to keep it for a long, long time. And a lot of people that buy exotic cars don't. They have them for just a little while, and they sell them, maybe trade up, maybe just be done with the exotic car thing. And I drive this car all over the place. It's not quite a daily driver, but almost. I've had it 4 years. It's got 38,000 miles on it, which is often unheard of for a Ferrari or any other kind of exotic car. I take it to the grocery store. I've taken it to Home Depot. So when it comes time to sell it, I don't have to worry about the value. That's not my problem. That'll be a problem for the executor of my estate.
Now, this is a very unique color. Out of all the 458s I've photographed, the only one I've seen in this color is yours. Can you tell us what led you to pick this color, and what is the name of this color?
So the name is Rosso Mugello. Rosso means red in Italian, and Mugello is the name of a town in Italy. And you're right, there's not that many. I've only seen 2 other cars like this in this color. After I put the deposit down, there comes a time when you have to spec the car out, and I was really laboring over the decision of what color to be. I wanted it to be red because it was my first Ferrari, and you know, Ferrari has the tradition of being red. One day I went back to the dealership, and in the dealership they had a Ferrari California in this color. And I said, that's it. What color is that? That's the color I want for it. And then Eric at Ferrari of Austin said, that's Mugello, and you should get the Coyo dark tan seats for the inside. And it's worked out wonderfully for us.
Well, this car is very beautiful, but it's also very powerful. Can you tell us about the drivetrain of this particular car?
Yeah, so it's a mid-engine V8, 562 horsepower, goes lickety-split. It's got great suspension setups, lots of knobs and dials that you can turn to adjust it. So there's a setting that we call Laura's setting, which is my wife, where it's quiet and calm and we can drive around town. And then you can adjust the settings and it becomes loud and raucous and really spirited to drive, and that's my setting.
How would you like to take this car on the road, or we get some time on the street with it?
That sounds great. I was hoping you would ask to do that.
You take this car and you actually use it, you know, various charitable projects, and one of those was with my good friend Abraham.
Right.
And I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, you sent out the word on one of our car groups that your friend Abraham was having some serious health issues and needed some help getting to and from doctor's appointments and so forth. And one of our friends stepped up and took him to his appointments in her beautiful car. And then I think I pinged you once and said, is there anything I could do? And turns out that it was last year during the Formula One race here in Austin, and Ferrari was having a really nice event to coincide with the Formula One race. And I said, do you think Abraham would be interested in going to that? And you said, well, I think so. Why don't you give him a call? So I called him up. He said, heck yeah. So I went out and picked him up, got a chance to meet him and his family. And I don't have to tell you, Abraham is quite a wonderful person. For a guy that was fighting cancer like he was and had to go through that, it's something I can only try to imagine, and not very well. He was so upbeat. He was very open about his disease and his illness and the toll it had taken on him and the fight that he had to go through. And just listening to him, you know, first made me have a lot of respect for the man. And then, you know, he was very hopeful in what his future foretold, and that gave me a lot of inspiration. What was really cool is we got to the event, and, you know, Ferrari knows how to put on a party. It's wonderful, and he had a chance to tell his story to a few of the people there, and a lot of the people there have had blessed lives, and I could see the impact he had on them, the perspective that he gave them on life. Not just about these wonderful cars and our nice lifestyles. It is about really important things like our health and our family, and I think he left a wake everywhere he went, like a boat wake, in the effect that he had on the people there that night.
Riding in this Ferrari 458 Italia was amazing, but what was more amazing was to hear the story about Abraham. Now, in 2015, Abraham lost his battle to cancer. He was someone that was very close to me, as well as his entire family. So we're going to end this week's episode a little differently. We're going to have a tribute to Abraham Zambrano, and we'll see you next week.